Imagine you are standing in a room that does not exist. You are holding a thought that cannot be thought. You are reading these words about something that has no words. Does that sound impossible? Welcome to the trap that broke philosophy itself. 2,500 years ago, a man named Parmenides wrote something so disturbing, so fundamentally unsettling, that we are still trying to escape from it today. And the most terrifying part? He might have been right. Close your eyes for a moment. Think of nothing. Really try it. Picture absolute nothingness. Did you see darkness? That is something. Did you imagine empty space? That is still something. The very act of thinking about nothing creates something. This is where our story begins. Not with grand theories or complex mathematics, but with the simple, impossible task of thinking about what does not exist. Parmenides lived in ancient Greece, in a world where philosophy was still young and dangerous. While his contemporaries debated the nature of change and motion, Parmenides made a claim so radical it seemed like madness. Nothing comes from nothing. What is not cannot be thought or spoken of. But here is where it gets disturbing. If you cannot think about what does not exist, how did I just make you try? We have just stumbled into what philosophers call the Parmenides Paradox. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. It is hiding in every sentence you speak, every thought you think, every story ever told. Consider this sentence. The unicorn in my backyard is beautiful. Your mind just created something impossible. A creature that does not exist, in a backyard that might not exist, possessing beauty you can somehow picture. But according to Parmenides, this sentence should be meaningless noise, pure gibberish. Yet here you are, understanding every word. This is the heart of the paradox. Language seems to have this supernatural power, the ability to conjure entire worlds from nothing, to make the impossible feel real, to give substance to shadows. Think about every myth you have ever heard, every fictional character who feels as real as your closest friend, every hypothetical scenario that guides your decisions. If Parmenides was right, none of these should be possible. We should not be able to discuss Hamlet's psychology, or debate Superman's morality, or feel genuine emotion about events that never happened. But we do, every single day. The Greeks had a word for this kind of philosophical vertigo, aporia, a state of puzzlement so complete it feels like drowning. And Parmenides had opened a trapdoor beneath the very foundation of human thought. For centuries, the greatest minds in history have tried to solve this mystery. Like detectives at an impossible crime scene, they have offered theories, each more ingenious than the last. Some, like Gottlob Frege, suggested that when we talk about fictional things, we are not really talking about the things themselves. We are talking about the concepts, the ideas, the mental representations. The unicorn is not real, but the concept of unicorn is. Others, like Bertrand Russell, argued that sentences about non-existent things are simply false statements in disguise. When I say, the present king of France is bald, I am actually making a complex claim that falls apart under analysis. There is no present king of France, so the statement is automatically false, not meaningless. But each solution opens new trapdoors. If fictional characters are just concepts, why do we care so deeply when they suffer? Why does the death of a made-up person sometimes hurt more than the death of someone real? And if all fictional statements are false, how can we have meaningful conversations about literature or learn genuine truths from stories that never happened? The more we dig, the stranger it gets. Modern philosophers like Saul Kripke have argued that fictional characters exist in a peculiar way, not in our world, but in what they call possible worlds. Sherlock Holmes does not exist here, but in some parallel reality, he is solving crimes on Baker Street right now. But this raises an even more unsettling question. If there are infinite possible worlds containing every conceivable scenario, what makes our world more real than any other? Here is what is truly disturbing about the Parmenides Paradox. It is not just an abstract puzzle for philosophers to solve. It is happening inside your mind right now. Every time you daydream, you are violating the fundamental laws of logic. Every time you plan for the future, you are thinking about events that do not yet exist. Every time you remember the past, you are communing with moments that no longer exist. According to Parmenides, your consciousness itself is impossible. Think about it. Your inner monologue, that voice in your head reading these words right now, is constantly filled with references to things that are not present. You think about people who are not here, places you are not at, times that are not now. If thought can only be about what exists, what exactly is your mind made of? Some cognitive scientists suggest that consciousness itself might be a kind of controlled hallucination, our brains creating a persistent story about a self that does not actually exist in any fixed form. We are, in a sense, fictional characters in our own mind stories. But if that is true, then who is writing the story? And who is reading it? 2,500 years after Parmenides wrote his disturbing little poem, we find ourselves trapped in the same linguistic prison he discovered. But maybe, just maybe, the prison is also the key. Perhaps the ability to think about non-existent things is not a bug in human consciousness. Perhaps it is the feature that makes us human. Every scientific breakthrough begins with imagining something that does not yet exist. Every moral advance starts with envisioning a world better than the one we inhabit. Every act of love involves caring about someone who exists beyond the boundaries of your own immediate experience. Language does not just describe reality. Language creates reality. Every word you speak brings new possibilities into being, conjures new worlds, breathes life into ideas that were pure nothingness moments before. And maybe that is the real secret hidden in the Parmenides Paradox. Maybe the line between existence and non-existence is not as clear as we thought. Maybe reality itself is more like a conversation than a fixed structure, a collaborative story we tell together, one impossible word at a time. But this leaves us with one final, haunting question. If our thoughts, our stories, our very sense of self might be elaborate fictions, if the boundary between real and unreal dissolves under scrutiny, if consciousness itself might be an impossible magic trick we play on ourselves, then what are you really? And what am I? The ancient Greeks believed that the most profound truths could only be approached through paradox. They understood that some questions are more important than their answers. Some mysteries are meant to be lived, not solved. Welcome to the Parmenides Paradox. You have been here all along. You just did not know it yet. In our next exploration, we will dive into how this ancient puzzle connects to modern questions about artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and the nature of digital existence. But for now, sit with this. Every thought you think about this video after it ends will be about something that no longer exists, in a mind that might not exist either. Sweet dreams.